The Trump administration weighing how to handle Syria and what to do about Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer responding earlier today. Take a listen.
I can't imagine a stable and peaceful Syria where Bashar al-Assad is in power.
How do we achieve our goals there? Here now is Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North, host of War Stories and a Fox military analyst. Colonel North, one thing that candidate Donald Trump was very clear about is that he wanted to reorganize NATO so that NATO would become a force that was fighting terrorism. I would think that now's the perfect time for that. Plus, you have that coalition that Trump put together of Arab allies that we had, people that haven't always been on our side who are now not only in the fight against ISIS, but who could be used in the fight against Assad.
Look, I think, David, we're right at the cusp of a dramatic change in the strategy that's been pursued thus far, which has been totally lacking for the last 7 years. I mean, you think about a million people a day are being starved somewhere in an internal displaced person, and you've got 500,000 dead already. 14 million already fled the country. It's a disaster. The state of Syria is non-existent as a functioning state. Here's the good news. The meetings that Secretary Tillerson is having right now could well lead to what you and I have been talking about for some time, and that is a NATO coalition that is supported by a Sunni Arab, if you will, stability force that goes into what was once Syria. And what you're going to end up with, I think, is three separate principalities. You're going to have the Alawite part of the country, which is where Bashar al-Assad is right now. You're going to have a Kurdish part of the country, and you're going to have, I hope, a Sunni part of the country that's got a stability force, perhaps from Egypt, perhaps from Jordan. And think about it.
That's a pretty powerful alliance.
Well, it would be.
Pretty powerful. And of course, it sets up a very clear choice, I think, for the Russians. You say, look, do you want to be part of an alliance with Iran and Hezbollah, a bunch of terrorists and tin pots, or do you want to be with the rest of us on the side that you got a choice between the A team and the Q team? Which would you prefer?
Well, now, as everybody knows, Secretary Tillerson was very clear about the priorities to first defeat ISIS, noble goal. The reason why they didn't come right out and jump on top of the idea of let's call it an international force going in and removing Bashar al-Assad is because you're going to have to go to the Congress for one of two things. You either get a covert action finding for the CIA to help undo the current regime, or you use the U.S. military, much the same way that was done in the last administration. Remember, the outcome for Gaddafi was not good for him. Right. It hasn't been good for anybody else.
But don't you think,
either.
just a final point on this, don't you think that the Russians would much rather be allied with us in that particular region than allied with just Iran and Hezbollah? I mean, they're in pretty bad company there. Of course, they're used to that. But if they were given that clear of a choice, might they be shaken loose from that alliance that they have now?
David, we have great hopes and expectations that everybody is a rational actor. I'm not entirely sure that Vladimir Putin really is anymore.
I understand. All right, I want to get your take on another issue. The U.S. deploying an aircraft carrier, also 3 guided missile destroyers and cruisers into waters that are getting near to North Korea. Of course, this after the country test-fired another ballistic missile. What is their mission, Colonel North?
Well, I think the mission right now is to make sure that Kim Jong-un is not going to test a nuclear weapon on the anniversary of his grandfather's birthday. You know, it's the 15th of April, tax day here, is cause for great celebration out there. They love to put on a great big military show. It would not be unexpected that he would actually test the 6th time a nuclear weapon.
And they're giving me a rap, but I got to ask, if that missile goes over the USS Vinson, what does the Vinson do?
I would doubt the missile will get that far, David. Without getting into classified material, I don't think it'll get that far.